President William Ruto of Kenya this morning goes on the platform X, previously known as Twitter, saying that or justifying that his cost of travel to the US was much cheaper than taking the Kenyan Airways, or known as the KQ. Hello, I am Mahlet, Ayele, your host at Connect Africa, bringing you the latest from the continent. Now, we are going to update you now on the US, the William Ruto's US visit to now William Ruto's visit to the US. Now he came back to Kenya, and then this morning around midday he went on Twitter, and this is what he said. I'm gonna read it full for you. So he says, hopefully you will be able to see it. This is what he says. Fellow Kenyans, I have noted concerns on my mode of transport to USA. As a responsible steward of public resources and in keeping with my determination for determination for us to live within our means, and that I should lead from the front. In so doing, the cost was less than traveling on KQ. Now, KQ is the Kenyan Airways. Now, with this tweet, I mean, first of all, when I read it, I mean, is he tripping? Really? Is he tripping? What is he trying to say? I mean, does he, as a foolish citizens, I mean, not only Kenyan citizens, I'm referring also Kenyan African citizen. So I'm going to reflect, first of all, what it means for him, when it comes to flight, as a person who has flown, the most frequent flyer ever of a sitting Kenyan president. Number two, I'm going to break it down in terms of cost when he says that this is less than KQ. In fact, one of the replies or the commentators below of his Twitters has done it. So I'm going to share that person's view. Now, thirdly, in how this could be a misleading, this tweet. And then, it's embarrassing, I mean, to say the list. And then finally, I mean, I will ask you a question. Maybe you help me for a better, understanding. So, first of all, William Ruto is known as, by his own journalists, Kenyan journalists, is named as a flying president. So because he is a frequent flyer, ever of a sitting president in Kenya. Now, look, if we put it in a maths, he has flown more than 50 times ever since he came to power in mid of September 2022. Now, he's not even 2 years. It's just like 18 months, something like that. And more than 50 times flying means, that is, if you do the math, like approximately three times a month. Okay, that's how. So all this is in the name of putting Kenya in the forefront, in the global front. I mean, he may have put Kenya in the global front, but at the expense of what? At the expense of so many things that he has done, which is not pan-African, by not walking the talk of what he has been preaching and saying. He could be the most articulated president. However, he is also known for lying. Okay, this is, I mean, we have been saying and again and again. First of all, you can start with the visa, where he promised that he's gonna make visa-free Kenyans for all African descendants in 2024, and he didn't do it at the end. Secondly, you can see the African Continental Free Trade Area, which he preaching and talking eloquently about it and advocating for it, and then you find him, making contracts with EU business people. There are a number of things, and for the mission of assigning or deploying Kenyan mission to Haiti, which is against against the will of Kenyans, and then the parliament member also has voted. So he's just doing it using his power. There are also other things that we can name, which William Ruto said and didn't do at the end. Now, when we comes to his flight, I mean, his flight cost us $1.2 million per day with the jet that he rented from the Royal Jet in Dubai. And now for him to say this is less in terms of cost than the Kenyan Airways. I mean, he has his own, I mean, Kenya has its own national airlines, which is called Kenyan Airways and called also in shortly KQ. First of all, you have to promote. What about, that term of Kenyans developed in 2017 by Kenya, build Kenya, okay? Now, you have a working airline, so why don't you use it? So for him to say this is really embarrassing. Now, when we come to the maths, let me just share with you, one person here on Twitter, what he shared. He commented below his comments, and he did really the maths. Okay, I'm gonna share it with you. Hopefully you will be able to see it. Look, you do the maths here. Now, KQ return ticket to JFK is $1,300 US. For you, you are the president. We will give you, of course, a choice of first class, and say you paid $4,500 together with other high-ranking officials. Now, 1,300 times 29 joyriders who ought to have used economy class or book tickets at their expense would have spent now $37,700. Now, you and 4 other ranking officials now paying 4,500 times 5 people, then it will be 22,500. Now, if you do the maths for those joyriders, and then William Ruto and his high official, 4 high officials, including the first lady, then you have 60,200 US dollar. Now, you would have spent 60,200 US dollar, or which is 7,846,769 Kenyan shilling on travel. Now, if you add all the hotel accommodation and etc., this trip would have cost not more than 80,000 US dollar, which is 10 million Kenyan shilling. Now, you do the maths, because $1.2 million paying per day, even for the whole trip, is how could that be equal to the 80,000 US dollar cost if he would have used the Kenyan Airways or the KQ? I mean, you help me, or am I missing something? We all have read it together, his tweet, okay? Now, number 3, what I want to add is actually, now this is kind of misleading, because now all the bloggers, the travel bloggers might think that now, after, being exposed, the whole headline of Ruto's expensive trip to the US, now, they think that if he is saying on his Twitter, official Twitter, that it's less than the KQ, meaning the Kenyan Airways, then Kenyan Airways must be very expensive. So you are misleading all those travel bloggers. Now, another thing I want to point out with regards to is that this is embarrassing, because now there is this, as I said, in 2017, the Kenyans came up with a buy Kenyan, meaning buy Kenyan product, and then build Kenya. So now it's not even as a president talking about as an alternative. Now, this is much expensive, more expensive than this, or this is more, this is less expensive than this. It's about, how you save the cost that you are using. It's not about alternative. It's all about, for you to avoid as a president unnecessary costs which you could have which you could have saved by using your own national airways. And at last I would like to ask you, since when, in a general term, for any, as a layman, since when is that to use a chartered flight is less, which has, since when is a chartered flight, it has less cost than using a commercial flight, which is even your own national airways? Since when? I mean, you can compare chartered flight with the other one. I mean, you help me with the maths, or there's something that I am missing, or it's not President Ruto, or maybe it's I am tripping, so I will just leave that question to you. Now, that means, on top of all the controversial things that President Ruto has done in his US visit, now he came back and he's telling us that he's telling to the concerned Kenyans, this is less cost. Using a chartered flight was less in terms of cost than using KQ. Wow. Okay, I will leave you with that one. So thanks again for joining in, for tuning in here with me on the live stream session. Please go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done until now, and then give it a like if you like what we bring you here. Also share the video with others, so let's empower each other with information and knowledge. So if you want to help us further, you can go ahead and donate to our PayPal account. You can find it in the description section, or we will pin it also in the comment section. So thanks again, and please comment below what do you think of this. Ciao, ciao.